Yesterday, another bombshell in the Jeffrey Epstein fiasco dropped. This time after House Democrats pushed for transparency and got the Oversight Committee to subpoena the birthday card that Trump signed. You all know the one I'm talking about. The one with the world's creepiest doodle. Let's just say it's even worse than we thought. And all of this comes after Trump actually tried to sue the Wall Street Journal for saying that they had the birthday card in the first place. And after MAGA officials ran to Twitter and called it a hoax. Let's be perfectly clear. We know that Trump and Epstein are connected. They were friends at Mar-a-Lago. And while the Trump administration moves Epstein's co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell to a country club prison and refuses to release the files, Democrats are doing the work to get to the bottom of the issue. We're putting pressure on Republicans in their own districts to demand the release of the files because the American people deserve transparency and they deserve the truth, even if Trump is pulling out all the stops to cover it up. I'm Hannah Muldaven, Deputy Communications Director for the Democrats and your host for today. It's Tuesday, September 9th, and this is the Democrats' Daily Blueprint. Last week, Trump's health secretary, RFK Jr., was in the hot seat testifying before the Senate Finance Committee about his anti-vaccine views and how he fired the director for the Center of Disease Control. Let's just say it went about as well as this exchange with Senator Warren.
So I'm sorry, but this is not what she has said publicly. She has said
I'm not surprised about that.
So you're saying she's lying?
Yes.
Yikes. Pretty sure all of us are the committee staffer in the back who couldn't believe what he was hearing. As secretary, RFK Jr. has promoted conspiracy theories, defunded critical medical research, and overseen the largest measles outbreak since 1992. He's been a disaster since he was sworn in, which is why a recent poll found that 55% of Americans think our public health is on the wrong track. But beyond these atrocious record on vaccines and his purge of several top public health officials, RFK Jr. has also been a disaster when it comes to healthcare affordability. Time and time again, he's defended the Republican budget bill. That's the one that lets Affordable Care Act subsidies expire and drives up the price of healthcare premiums for millions. That's right, Americans are now facing the biggest rise in health insurance costs in 15 years. And RFK Jr.'s regulations are one of the reasons why premiums are going through the roof. Once fully implemented, they're estimated to force between roughly 750,000 and 2 million Americans to lose coverage. Compare this now to the Democratic record on healthcare. Under President Biden, Democrats fought Big Pharma and won, reducing the cost of prescription drugs for seniors. Thanks to measures we passed in 2022, Medicare recipients pay just $35 a month for life-saving insulin. And rather than cut subsidies and critical Medicaid funding, we fought for more investment so that more Americans can get better healthcare. Look, we know that our system is broken. But under Trump and RFK Jr., they're working to fully dismantle our public health system, even calling to cut more than $1 billion from the agency that tackles substance abuse and mental health. These are bipartisan issues. Nobody wants this. Trump's corruption prioritizes the rich and screws over everyone else who know how expensive healthcare is, and it's about to get more expensive. It's really shameful. And the chaos isn't just limited to healthcare. It's emblematic of the way that this entire administration sees its job. On Friday, the Bureau of Labor Statistics released another jobs report. Now, if you thought July was bad, August was even worse. The economy added around 50,000 jobs fewer than what analysts expected. The unemployment rate went up to 4.3%. And after another revised report for June, for the first time since December 2020, the economy actually lost jobs. So let's turn to the administration. Are they concerned? Maybe even worried that the costs are going up for everyday Americans while the job market gets worse? Of course not. Trump's Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, is a former hedge fund manager. His net worth is estimated to be over $500 million. And on Sunday, he went on Meet the Press and repeatedly denied that Americans are footing the bill for Donald Trump's trade war.
Hasbro says they're going to have to increase their prices. Goldman Sachs says 86% of the tariff revenue collected so far has been paid by American businesses and consumers. So just bottom line, Mr. Secretary, do you acknowledge that these tariffs are a tax on American consumers?
No, I don't.
Even though you have companies saying they are going to have to increase prices, and given the fact that 86% of these tariffs so far have been paid by Americans.
You're quoting Goldman Sachs. So
yes, Goldman Sachs, correct.
I made
Which I said, yeah.
I made a good career trading against Goldman Sachs.
Okay.
There's overwhelming evidence that companies are paying more to import goods and passing those higher costs along to consumers. I feel it. We don't need Besant to tell the truth, to know the truth. 2 recent polls found that 6 in 10 Americans disapprove of Trump's handling of the economy. And they're right. Trump's economy does suck. Look, we know there's a never-ending stream of daily chaos and dysfunction coming from the Trump administration. And you may be asking yourself if there's anything you can do about it. Well, at the DNC, we like to say there's no such thing as an off year. And in fact, this November, there are a number of critical races around the country where voters can elect Democrats to hold the Trump administration accountable. But we need your help. So I'm really excited to kick things over to our distributing organizing director, Kate Beacon, my colleague, to talk about what the DNC has in store for upcoming elections this fall. Kate, welcome to the Daily Blueprint.
Thank you so much for having me, Hannah.
Now tell me, what do you have cooking over there in the organizing department at the DNC?
Absolutely. So tonight we are kicking off our big fall elections push, all in for 2025, right here on YouTube. We'll be joined by Eric Holder, chair of the National Democratic Redistricting Committee, along with grassroots organizers who are on the front lines, fighting GOP attacks on fair maps, registering voters, winning elections, and really building that long-term Democratic power. This is your chance to be among the first to hear our plans for the months ahead, what's at stake in 2025, and you can see what you can do to play a part in laying the foundation for victories this year and beyond.
That's so exciting. And Eric Holder, that's a really exciting guest. Do you know what he might be talking about?
Yeah, I would maybe assume he's talking a little bit about the redistricting fights that we have coming up this year. We have fights happening all across the country as Republicans try to redraw maps. We want to make sure we're fighting back. And so he's there to give us a little bit more insight into what these redistricting fights are and what folks can do to actually get involved in fighting those maps.
Thank you so much. And Kate, you talk to Democrats across the country every day. Do you find that there's hope out there? Are people fighting back?
Yes, absolutely. I'm so proud of our organizing team, and I'm so proud of our volunteers. Every single day, thousands of Americans are standing up. They're helping us reach voters, they're helping us register voters, and they're just letting sure people know and are holding Republicans accountable to their harmful actions. And it's really, I think, inspiring. So I find all of our organizing calls inspiring, and I think tonight's will be no different. So we'll be right here on YouTube at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, and I hope to see everyone there.
Amazing. Kate, thank you so much for coming on the Daily Blueprint.
Thank you, Hannah.
Now, up and down the ballot, Democrats are running on affordability and offering new ideas to bring down the cost of living. And here at the Daily Blueprint, we're highlighting Democratic candidates who are fighting for working families and who need your support to win. In the 60 days before the November elections, we're featuring 60 candidates that you can help win. Today's candidate spotlight is on Aftab Purival, the mayor of Cincinnati who's running for re-election. I also hear it's the mayor's birthday, so happy birthday, Mayor. Now, you may remember him as the candidate that absolutely smoked J.D. Vance's half-brother in the primary back in May. And while the final tally in the primary wasn't close, we're not taking our foot off the gas. To get involved with Mayor Purival's campaign, go to aftabformayor.com/join. Learn more about how he's fighting to make Cincinnati a safer, more prosperous city. And stay tuned as we keep shining a spotlight on Democratic candidates who are running to make a difference all across our country. Thank you for joining us today for this episode of the Daily Blueprint. We'll be here right with you every day during the week at 10 a.m. Eastern on the DNC's YouTube page. Until tomorrow.